If you are somebody who does things alone, society makes you feel like you are broken. There's something wrong with you. Like there's a character flaw, right? Like you just have something fucked up with you. And to be very frank, I had the same mentality. So the irony is sometimes they will have some sayings that makes you feel like you're stupid, makes you feel like you're weak. One saying that gets to me is the lone wolf dies, the pack survives. And to be very frank, sayings like this kind of haunted me in my university days when I was trying my possible best to connect with people, but the connection was not just happening. One, two, again, I've seen myself force myself into friendship circles, which always backfired. And then I've been wondering, what the fuck is wrong? Am I broken? And up until recent times, right? Until recent times, I've come to a realization, no, that there are people who are on their own, who are alone, right? Who enjoy being alone. And there are people who are alone based on condition. Now, I came to realize that there are people who have their strength being on their own, and that's where I belong, where most of my strength comes from me being alone. And I would say, up until recent times, right, even regardless of my self improvement journey, I think I finally came to a strong conclusion recently when I met when I finally opened up to one man at the gym. His name is Mr. T. I have a podcast with him. The podcast will drop very soon, right? Again, the reason I haven't dropped it yet is because he's like he wants us to reshoot the podcast because we had when we shot it, it was like a friendly conversation. So that podcast was as real as it could get. He wasn't expecting a podcast. He invited me to his office. So basically, Mr. T, right? Mr. T is this man at the gym where I would say he's the most perfect man at the gym. When I mean perfect man, which is what I'm striving towards, is he's tall, he's rich, he's attractive, he's confident, he's jovial. He's basically what a woman wants. So I'll say, not to sound gay, but he's the most attractive man in the gym. And one day I asked him, like, because again, he's in his 50s. One day I asked him, I'm like, sir, what's your secret to all this? And I'm going somewhere, hear me very well. He says, it's lifestyle. Lifestyle is the secret. So before we knew it, we began talking and I asked for a podcast. In the podcast, he made a statement. He made several statements that made me realize that that was his edge all along, right? And this is a very way. He says that. He said, one, he likes being alone, right? Because when he's alone, it's easier for him to think clearly. And all of his best movements, his best trips, he has always done them alone. He says solo trips are the best. The moment he made that statement, bang. Now, around the same time, I was introduced to a text called The Dokoto by Miyamoto Musashi. And bro, this particular text has become my Bible because it made me realize that this art of walking a life alone is not a flaw, it's an actual gift. Because most people can't do it. Most people use relationships and friendships as a form of distraction. So instead of thinking that I was kind of broken, instead I flipped the script and said, no, this is a strength. Now, this is a very big caution. Now, I am not alone based on condition. I am alone based on a decision, based on a choice. What that means is I have people who I speak to from time to time. I have people who I can call and they will show up for me. But this idea of me being alone is because it allows me to recharge. It allows me to be myself. And if you don't believe me, check out my vlogs that I upload called Becoming Him, where I interact with people at the gym. I interact with people everywhere I go. So what that means is my introverted and extroverted nature are in balance. So, bro, this is not an excuse for you to be lazy. It's an excuse for you to realize that if your nature wants you to be alone, don't fight it. If your nature wants you to be, again, not fight it, at the same time, it should not be an excuse for you to be lazy because guess what? The best entrepreneurs are both introverted and extroverted. Introverted because they need to recharge. Extroverted because they need to interact with people, understand people, and be relatable with people. And I would say what if anyone hits me harder was around that same time. Imagine these same three events, this thought, this is the Mr. T's conversation, the Dokoto introduction, and one last statement got me just thinking, right? And which was the root cause of all these things, maybe. I was with I traveled with one of my mentors to his hometown. And his daughter made a statement. He has three kids. His last born made a statement saying that the second born is always alone. And she thinks she has middle child syndrome. And that was the first time the father heard that phrase. And that was the first time I too heard that phrase, middle child syndrome. At that moment, things began to make sense. Mr. T is a middle child. I'm a middle child. It may seem like lack of attention, but that lack of attention may have caused us to do what? To go within ourselves, to seek some form of solitude. And guess what? That is our strength. So what other benefits have I really seen from this path of aloneness? Is that one, you are your own priority. For real. Because whenever I really look at the dumbest things I have done, it's mostly with people. And if I really look at the most activities that I enjoyed, it's by myself, right? Now, I'm not here to say I don't have activities that I did with people that I enjoy. No, I still do my martial arts with people. I have people that I bond with. But for example, right now, I'm currently learning IM, right, in swimming, the 4 laps thing. And then before I used to do it like a couple of guys, but now I'm doing it alone and I'm enjoying it, right? Because I'm going at my pace. I am quiet. I am looking at my form while I am swimming. Because whether I like it or not, if I have people beside me, their form or their movement sort of disrupts me. But these days when I do it, I'm like, interesting. Same thing when I go for a jog, right, without earphones. I'm just like going for my jog, embracing, watching my steps, taking things at my pace. Again, there are benefits for having both of them, and I've used both of them. I jog with people, I swim with people. But whenever I'm doing things are my priority, it makes me realize that sometimes when I'm doing things with other people, I have to factor them in my plan. So for example, my Sunday swims happen by, I leave by 6 p.m. No, I leave by 6 p.m. Yeah, I'm always the first at the pool. But when I'm going with people, it's by 7, 8, sometimes 9 a.m. Sorry, 6 a.m. When I have people there, it's like 6, 7, 9 a.m. No, it's never 7 a.m. It's like 8 a.m., 9 a.m. Because I have to factor in when they'll wake up. Even the last time somebody tried to join me to the pool, one of my guys, we agreed on Saturday that he will follow me by 6 because I had to tell him again. I had to tell him that I'll be leaving by 6, make him realize that that's very important to me. So by 5:30, I called him and says, he had a friend come over and then he doesn't want to leave his friend. Maybe he will meet me there. And sometimes he meets me there, right? But not, this is the first time we together are supposed to go by 6. But he never comes around. Turns out that person he was with, they were together and then the person was not really feeling like going to swim or being close to the water. And that's how his plans canceled for swimming. It made me realize that sometimes, whenever we have activities planned for ourselves, guess what? Other people come and you have to factor them in. Now, this is not about you being a douchebag, but it's about you realizing that when you have priorities, or when you see some priorities, you should know what your non-negotiables are. To him, swimming was not important, right? But why swimming was important to me, if I had a friend over, why swimming was important to me, I have to tell them that, come, right now I'm learning endurance in the water, and this is the time I'm going to swim. But most people don't do that because they're always thinking about the other person, right? Even I've noticed that because right now I'm going from tech to like creating content, life coaching, transforming guys, documenting my journey and all that stuff. And every time I maybe tell people why I'm turning down some tech jobs, some tech projects, it makes it sound like I'm stupid, I'm crazy. So guess what? It begins to make me factor their opinions into this. It's only a few people who understand that it's the game, right? At some point, you have to go all in. At some point, you have to take yourself serious. And those are the guys that I would say, if I really look at my circle, those are the real guys. Because they know that I'm not stupid. They know that I'm not creating content as a clown. They know that I'm not creating skits and all that thing. But at some point, there has to be a leap of faith. Then being alone to some extent has allowed me control my emotions, right? Made me somewhat emotionally resilient, where whenever something difficult happens, right, I know how to do it. I always figure it out. And I tell men that one gift you need as a man is your ability to figure it out. The irony of shit, that is what self-reliance is. Yeah, self-reliance. It has boosted my idea of self-reliance that even though I don't know what to do, is the ability to figure it out that I think is very attractive. And to be very, very frank, I think that's even where the whole middle child thing comes in, where something is wrong somewhere. You can't speak up. So guess what? You have to force yourself to figure it out. Yeah. Whether you feel good or you don't feel good, you have to find a way to figure it out. Again, self-reliance, right? You rely on your own abilities, as easy as it is. Then, when you are alone, you have time to reflect. Because I just turned 28 recently, right? And I have been reflecting on life generally, on the lessons I have learned. And bro, each time I have a proper reflection time, it completely blows my mind, right? About how much I was stopped, how much I have stopped doing something simply because of people walking into my life, how I have procrastinated on some goals, some tasks, not some goals, some tasks, some projects, how I've missed out, right? And this is not to say that, this is just me saying that, oh boy, a lot of things that a lot of the times our friends influence us greatly that we don't even know it. Because even recently I was reflecting on my thoughts, right? On my thoughts. And if you watch my vlogs, you get to realize that this is why you even need to, even though you have friends, you have to vet your friends. Because I had this guy around me who I would say was always talking about women. And for some strange reasons, one day I woke up one day and I was like, why am I always thinking about women? Women are important, don't get me wrong, but why is my thoughts always going there? Because to be very frank, most of these girls, I don't talk to them. I talk to quite a number of them. Some of them, I don't even follow up. Right? But why is my thoughts going there? And I came to realize that this particular person close to me, he traveled. And when he came back, during that travel period, the thoughts I had about women kind of reduced. Right? Now, one thing I like about this guy is, I would say it's because of him, my social life kind of like became better, became comfortable around women. So I won't see him as a red flag. No, no, right? Again, he's the one who I would say, every time we see a girl, right, and maybe she's my spec, he'll push me to talk to her, to go and approach her. Now, if I give any bullshit excuse, he would remind me of a statement that would make me meet this girl, right? So I'll say part of it, he's part of the people who made me refine my cold approaching skills, be it at the gym, be it on the road. But guess what? At some point, I just need time to recharge. So that's all these things happen because all these things happen when you self-reflect, when you pause and say, with this my actions, where are they leading me to, right? Because for these days, when I approach women, the idea in my head is, it's not about trying to have sex or trying to date them. It's about just being open to them. Like even at the gym, I see you at the gym, you see me at the gym. What that means is I'm not a creep, right? So I can approach you, hey, hi, how are you doing? How's your day going? And before you know it, just like do random talk at the gym, right? But outside the gym, to be very honest, nothing happens. I've taken lots of numbers for the sake of, they make me feel like I should have their numbers, but I don't really follow for most of them. Yep, my vlogs are there, so evidence. So when you're alone again, it feels like you can get more done. You're actually more productive when you're alone. You're not bothered about trying to impress anybody when you're alone. When you're alone, you wake up in the morning, you have a list of tasks. Like right now, my phone is currently off. Even though it's on, I don't expect any messages right now. I don't, because it's a Sunday. Most people are probably in church, right? Again, when I was alone, it was easier for me to process my thoughts regarding religion. Speaking of Sunday, I was able to process my thoughts around religion. And I've come to a conclusion that a lot of the times, our ideas and beliefs, right, are determined or manufactured by society. Our thinking, our thoughts is being controlled by society. And something that Miyoto Musashi taught me, right, I got from him, he says, don't act following customary beliefs. That actually hits me hard. Because almost everything we do it because of somebody else had a popular opinion. But if you really dig everything, if you can zoom out, this is when you become alone, guess what? You zoom out and be like, hold on, where the fuck did that come out from? When you zoom out, you get to ask questions. And guess what? When you ask questions, you solve your problems. Like what I said yesterday, you cannot actually achieve your full potential if you never self-reflect. It is not possible. Now, so someone who likes to be alone, it is easier to self-reflect. And speaking of relationships, I tell people that in the process, you end up having better relationships. Yeah, you end up having better relationships because you focus on quality, not quantity. Because if I really dig on the friendships, because again, I have people around me who have other friends. If you really take a step back and look at most people's friendships, one thing you get to realize that most friendships are shallow. Most of them are very shallow. And I've noticed a trend. Again, this is when you self-reflect, that a lot of friendships are built based on bad habits, not based on shared principles, beliefs, and values, right? That's why, to be very honest, most of my friends are older than me. They're more like mentors to me. They call me friends, but to them, I view them as mentors, right? But these guys, heck, they try to do their best to advise me on life, make sure I don't do dumb shit, make sure that my actions are aligned and stuff, and give me principles that work for me. Now, I see them more as mentors. They see me more as friends. And these guys are in their 40s, 50s. And then knowing fully well that their ideas have shaped me and helped my life. One thing I'm grateful for is the quality of relationships I have with these guys. Right? So I'll tell you that when you become alone, it's easier for you to self-reflect. It's easier for you to do things with intention because you are thinking. Most people don't think. Most people have opinions of others injected in their head, so they don't think. And this is not a way of saying, oh, I'm the smartest in the room. No. What I'm saying is that at least the things I do, I should be doing them act of my own will. Not because somebody puts ideas in my head, not because I'm going through peer pressure, right? So, yes, the thing that happened because I just turned 28. I just turned 28. And I've been reflecting on life. What have I learned? Right. So I've learned to not fight my nature. My nature is I'm with people, I laugh with people who I trust, people whose presence I enjoy, people who I connect with at a deeper level. But at the same time, I also need time to recharge. And there's nothing bad in that. There's nothing wrong in me wanting to be alone. Nothing wrong. Again, heck, in case you guys don't know, I live in a 3-bedroom apartment. I'm moving to a 5-bedroom apartment, by the way. And I've always just loved pacing around my apartment. I pace from room to room without slippers. I come out of my corridor, look at my mirror, I just do some weird stuff in front of the mirror. And to be very frank, it's part of me. So, brother, if you're somebody who is alone, don't let society gaslight you to believe that something is wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with you. If it's your nature, go ahead, embrace it. For some people, they constantly need people around them to validate them. There are people who don't see a need to be alone. Me, I see a need to be alone. And I'm basically telling you that if you're like that, again, being solo trips being the best, at least you get to plan your life on your own terms, live life on your own terms, be intentional. Don't be, again, you are not too attached to people because sometimes I've seen people not make progress in life simply because they are attached to somebody else. Right? That's never been me. Although I've seen myself factoring people's opinions in my decision, and so sometimes those decisions get swayed. So anytime I have like a major decision, what do? I find a way to cut people's opinions away. And it becomes easier the more you practice it. So, brother, that's it. If you like what you're hearing in this video, please share with somebody else who you know will find it helpful. Because let's be honest, I think these days I find it easier to only operate with people who are on their A game. So everybody who I have around me is on their A games. When we come together, it's like magic. So bro, share this video with somebody who's ready to level up and become a better version. Talk to you soon and bye for now.